Hey, Mr. Belmosan here. So we're going to start a new project. It will be Swamp Rat 30, driven by Don Garlits. And I think I'll bust this up into 3 chapters. We'll talk a little bit about Don Garlits, and we'll do the unboxing. And then in the 3rd chapter, I will add in a little chat about being a drag racing fan back in the day. No TV coverage, no internet, no social media. A little bit different than today. So we'll get started with this cool guy. So as a teenager, I first started seeing this guy in magazines, drag racing magazines, and not on TV. So, of course, as a teenager, first time I saw a picture, look at this. Is this guy cool or what? This is such a cool look. As a matter of fact, it gives me a vibe of a 60s beatnik. And a beatnik that I've seen before. Let me show you. He looks a little bit like the beatnik in the Jerry Lewis movie, Visit to a Small Planet. Yeah, I watched Jerry Lewis. There he is. Looks like the same guy. I mean, that could have been Don Garlits in this movie. Who knows? Yeah. So yes, I watch Jerry Lewis movies, and I like Jerry Lewis. I'm a fan, but even as a fan, this movie is terrible. It's awful. But it's probably, I think it's on YouTube. Grab it on YouTube. Fast forward to the nightclub scene with the beatniks. It's amazing. It's classic. It's a must-watch. It also includes Buddy Rich on the drums. You'll thank me later. In any event, let's get back to this cool beatnik. So, his first accident was in 1970, and it was pretty bad. So here it is. This is in the days of front-engine dragsters. Everybody had one. His transmission blew up, and it bent the car. So the car is bent in half. This is him sitting up in the cockpit there, facing the ground, basically, because it bent. And it also cut his foot off. And according to the story, when they put him in the ambulance, the medic on the ambulance closed the door on his foot, or where his foot used to be. And can you believe that? And they had to open the door to get his leg loose. Amazing. But they got him to the hospital. They reattached his foot, but they had to cut his toes off. You know, I got good news and bad news. Ridiculous. And in an interview like 30 years later, he says his foot still hurts. It's hurt him from then all the way till 30 years from now. And he walks with a slight limp, and he says he has the pain all the time. And I kind of feel his pain. I know where he's coming from, but that's another story for another day. But after all that, this accident, 1 year later, he's back to racing. And he's redesigned the car with his crew, and they made it a rear engine dragster with the engine behind the driver. He's the only one. I'm sure everybody was scoffing at him. But he started winning. That very next year with the new car, he started winning. And within a year or two, everyone had rear engine dragsters. Changed the whole industry. Fast forward to 1986. And that previous accident, this one, that was Swamp Rat 13. All those cars were named Swamp Rat. This is Swamp Rat 30. That's the kit I'm going to be building. And in 1986, he did a complete blowover. So this is the beginning of a blowover. And then the car just completely flops over backwards. And he was lucky it twisted in midair and landed on the wheels. Only now it was going backwards down the track really fast. But he managed to get it stopped. And he actually got out and walked away and didn't get hurt. But then the following year in their new car, Swamp Rat 31, he did another blowover and really messed himself up. That's when he quit. I think that was a good decision. But I'm sure he stayed involved. But 5 years later, he started racing again. For many years. And here's a surprise ending to this story. This dude is still alive. He's 94. 94. Nice job, Don. 94. Good job. All right. So we'll start the next chapter and do the unboxing. And then we'll get to chapter 3 and talk about the old days. Again, thanks for watching. So I've actually got 2 kits here to check out. This one I got off of eBay. And I believe this is 1987 from Revell. The new one's from Atlantis. But I believe Atlantis just bought the molds from Revell. It should be the same kit. One thing I can at least expect is that the decals in this one will be better than this one, because this is 2024. So these are aged a little bit. So we'll check out what they look like. The box, much deeper. Much deeper. I mean, front to back, it's slightly bigger. End to end, they're the same. But it is definitely deeper. So I've been through this one several times. Several times. Well, let's see how this one is packed. This one I believe I paid like $30 for. I don't remember this. I have to look that up. It says rubber tires. Now that's a problem because in this one the rear tires, which is the focal point of a rail, are in 2 pieces, which is terrible. This one they're also in 2 pieces, but somebody on a review said that if you get a later issue, they're 1-piece tires. I'm not buying that, but we'll see. The decals are much brighter. Let's take a look. 2-piece tires. Pathetic. All right. That was a complete letdown. That was the one thing I was hoping for. So, do we see a difference here? Yeah. These are blue background. This might have been blue at one point. Let's see what like down here. Atlantis has their brand on the decals. Interesting. Because you can see right here where it says Kendall, it's much thicker lettering. And I think this is longer. Let's see. Nope. This is just thicker lettering. Everything else looks similar. Interesting. Just the blue background makes you think these are newer and crisper. I think the actual colors on the old one are correct. They're okay. All right. So there's that. Let's stand these up so we can get to this stuff. Now the box, remember I said how fat the box was, but much taller? Well, it didn't need to be. It's partially empty. So there's that. The directions. Are made different. These are glossy, like true magazine pages, and pretty thick. Same. These are just much sturdier. You feel like you're getting something. Alright. Had a glitch there. Alright. You may be having performance issues. Yeah, well, that was kind of weird. Alright, so far, the same. Instructions are the same. I guess they just copied them and went with that. Nothing crazy. The craziest part is the back. Look at that. There's no doubt where these decals go. No guesswork. Imagine it's the same here. Yeah. Same here. So I would say these instructions are pretty good. There's a figure of Don Garlits in the kit. I've seen the completed models other people have. This figure sucks. It's just terrible. And I think if you stand this figure next to the car, it just takes away from it. It makes the whole thing look goofy. So I doubt I'll be using that. Alright. Here's the crummy tires. Huge seam. Just sand them anyway to make them look right. But come on. Come on. Blank. So the new kit, the tires are just blank. The old kit, it's got Goodyear on them. And some more detail lettering. So there's that. I'll have to decide which tires to use. There's 2 chrome trees. Well, in the old one there were 2 chrome trees. Let's see what's going on. Oh, the old one, the chrome tree was broken in half. So we've got this. Same. How come that looks different? Yeah, that must be the same. And this side, I'm telling you, they look different. The valve covers. They look the same size. These look smaller on the new kit. Possibly they're more accurate. Yeah, the new kit, they look smaller. Would they actually do that? Let's see. Alright. We'll see when we get into the build. Don't like that. Here's the kit, it's all white. I mean, it's got to be black. So, what's the point of making it white? So any spot you miss with a spray paint or your airbrush, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. This piece I was wondering about. I don't know how you mold this. How do you mold that? Because that's the way with the one I got on eBay. I thought somebody had started the build because of this piece. And I'm like, I don't know how you mold a 3D piece like that. Back in 1987. But this looks... Let's see if it's got a seam. Not really feeling. Slight seam. Slight seam. Same with this. But it's very slight. So I'm happy with that. Good kit. I did like on the original kit the details on the engine. Let's take a look. Okay. The lines. That looks the same. Yeah, I wouldn't see them changing the molds for any reason. That's way too expensive. Parts look good. Parts look good. Either on this one, again with the seams. Very slight. Yeah, very good parts. I can't complain. Cannot complain. The chrome's fine. I mean, it's your preference. Strip them or use them as is. This is about to come off. The body. Now it says in the directions when you're done, the body can snap off or just lift off. Or you can get lazy on the interior and just leave the body on. Everything else, all parts look good. Here he is. Seems to be missing something like his head. I mean, he's got the helmet. Did I miss his head somewhere? It doesn't look... The body doesn't look terrible. Is that him? There he is. I'll have to see when painted how he turns out. Then I'll decide if I'm going to put it next to the car. Although, I mean, that cool pic of him in his early days, he's definitely getting painted with the goatee. Or whatever that style was of his beard. The beatnik look. He's definitely getting painted with that. So that's good. All the parts look good. The decals look very good. I think I'll go with those. Instructions, much nicer material. But all the parts look exactly the same. I mean, you'd think they bought the molds, so the molds are used and worn, but the new parts look fine. Don't look like that at all. So, now I can go ahead and make mistakes and take the part and chuck it in the garbage and pick a different one. So we'll see how this goes. I like the kit. So being a fan back in the day, got to do a little work. No internet, no cell phone, almost no TV coverage. So you would get the magazines. Now this one is from 1963. That's a little early for me. That's when I was still just a kid. So I wasn't interested in drag racing. But this was one of the ones that I would buy when I got older. This one's 50 cents, and I'm sure, let's see, it's 63. It's probably getting 10 cents a week allowance. So even if I was interested in drag racing, it wouldn't happen. But this one covered everything, not just drag racing. So I know later on I bought a few issues, and the cover was important. The cover had to pull you in, because there were a lot of choices, not just in auto racing, but in the magazine rack. So cover was important. This would have got me. Garlits. Close-up of tires spinning. That's pretty cool. And this is not like a traditional magazine that's glossy and shiny and slippery. It's paper. Looks like a magazine, but it's kind of paperish. Got the ads, of course. Right away, Don Garlits. So for a long time he was dominating the coverage. Well, he was winning and breaking records, so it makes sense. Letters to the editor. You were passionate or upset about something, well, you could scream in your pillow, or you could write a letter to the editor in the hope that it got published. Couldn't post on your phone. And of course, more than just drag racing. There's several pages of letters. Ad for the Army. Doesn't say Army. Down here it might, but very strange. More ads. Here's an article about some track where people were sitting in the telephone poles to watch. Smart moving. Don Garlits does it again with Pennzoil. That was big. The ads on these cars made a difference. I know later on in the 70s, 80s, I was a big Mark Martin fan in NASCAR. So when I got an oil change in my car, or did my own oil change, I used Valvoline because that was his sponsor. And that was a big deal with NASCAR. The sponsorships and what you saw on the side of the car made a big difference, and a lot of people made purchases based on that. That's a nice looking bike for 1963. It's a BSA. Huh. And lots of ads. I think it was too many ads. You know, even back then, ads are all over the place. But then it gets into long articles. Ford Sweep Daytona 500. That's a big read. Pontiac's on a diet. Again, huge read. So that's good. Roadster show. The cars is always a futuristic car. Or what do they call them? Concept cars. Yeah. They were cool. When I was a kid, those were cool. Now, nope. More articles. Here's the article I found in here. This guy customized his car. Look at the features he put in it. It starts remotely. That's a big deal then. Restarts itself automatically. I don't know what that means, and I read the article. It's like, I don't know. I'm assuming that if your car stalls out, which used to happen a lot, I guess if it stalls out and it knows you got your key in the ignition on run, stalls out, it'll just start up again, or try to. Doors open to the flash of a light, so it's got a light, a sensor on the driver's side windshield that he holds the light to, and the doors unlock. Or the doors open, I guess they unlock. And the seats turn. I've got a picture of that next page. The doors lock at 20 miles an hour. They all do now. Inside there's a TV, a hi-fi, and a tape recorder. Pretty cool. Here's the seat turned, waiting for somebody to get in. There's the TV. And there in the engine bay is the back end of the TV. That's pretty crazy. Full article. Don Garlits. Swamp Rat 4. Exactly the type of dragster that he got his foot cut off in when the training was just right below his leg. Then the clutch blew up. Just used a Dodge Dart V8 for power. You don't think of Dodge Dart as a muscle car. Back then it was. Matter of fact, in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, in the chase scene, Dick Shawn was driving a 64 Dodge Dart convertible. And so on. So, and a color picture. Color pictures were amazing. Even newspapers didn't go for till years later start sneaking maybe a color picture on the cover of the newspaper. Nice. So yeah, this magazine covered it all. NASCAR, all auto racing. Like it says, everybody's automotive magazine. Then we get to the one I had, well, I was subscribed to for many years. National Dragster. And this is a newspaper. It's like a full-size newspaper, folded in half, and it would get mailed to you. The address label. I covered this one up because I got this off eBay, and it's some person's address. So you get your headline, full-page ad, and you open it, and you read it like a newspaper. It's funny, it's all black and white. They highlight things in color. How about do the photos in color? Articles of the day. This was published every week, and then they switched to every 2 weeks. Now it's every month, I believe. I was thinking about subscribing to it. If you get the print edition, in order to get this, what you did was you became a member of the NHRA, and then you automatically got the publication. Let's zoom out here. There we go. So I just went online and checked it out, and to get the printed, become a member, print, and get it in your mailbox, $90 a year. I'm like, I don't know about that. I already get Fine Scale Modeler, and that's a big bill. That's $40 a year. If you get the digital version, it's only for the low reduced price of $80 a year. So I'm gonna have to think about that. Again, letters to the editor. That's a big deal. There's a lot of things a lot of magazines or publications, even online things that have that. Not the same as getting in a thread and posting and chatting with people about the different issues. But there it is, important. My dad wrote letters, not to National Dragster, but my dad wrote letters, mostly history magazines, anything to do with history, electrical engineering. He was a letter writer. Here's Don Garlits again. Got his picture in there. Top 10 professionals. His top fuel, Shirley Muldowney. At this point in the season was leading. And there's Don Garlits. You get everything in a nutshell. You get all the events coming up. They also talk about sponsors, what they're paying at all the events for the winners. Here's more payouts. This is for the season, the whole season. Top Fuel, first place, they get $15,000. Well, today, just to change the parts over from one race to the next on the same day, one time, cost more than that. That was the big payout back then. Don Garlits again, talking about his records and whatnot. They're talking about a track, the Mile High track, and what different people have done at that track. The Mile High Nationals. Here's the NHRA cash purse. Sponsor awards. You get lost in the weeds here. A lot of detail. It's great. You got so many pictures of different cars. More. The Summer Nationals. What's the payouts? They are. And when this came out every week, sometimes you didn't get to it. All of a sudden you get the next issue. That's it. The issue that you didn't read is ancient history. Might as well just throw it out. A color photo. Nice. So it's pretty good. A lot of information. Let's see what I tagged off here. Here's all the winners in different classes with their elapsed times, the miles per hour, and you can get so lost in the weeds in here. Every little stat for all the races, totals for the year to that point. There's some more. So yeah, I don't think I ever read an entire issue front to back, maybe skimming, but there's more in here than you need. Then at the end, you want to buy a car? Here we go. This was the same way until the 80s, maybe even beyond. If you needed a job, you looked in the newspaper, and the jobs were listed just like this. That was it. And then all of a sudden, that wasn't a thing anymore. Point standings. More stats. Small enough? And ads. Performance parts. More performance parts. I wonder how many of these are not in business anymore. Probably a lot. There you go. Racetrack directory has all the racetracks and their phone numbers. Nearest one to me was Englishtown, New Jersey. I was on Long Island. Never went there. If we wanted to go see it racing in person, that was at least an hour and a half, maybe more from where I lived. There was a track way out on the end of, towards the end of Long Island, at Cinema Riches National Speedway. They never had a main event where Don Garlits would show up, but it was fun to watch. So this I stayed in touch, and this I subscribed to and had delivered when I was in the Army stationed in Germany. Because your military address, well, the Army is an APO. It's kind of like a zip code. So if something, you could get a subscription to something and they say, we only mail to, it used to be only the 48 states. Alaska and Hawaii were trouble. But that's not really such a big deal anymore. But because it was an APO address, it wasn't, they did it. They would say in the subscription, only to the 48 states, and APOs and FPOs accepted also. So I had a subscription while I was there for a little over a year. Everybody wanted to borrow it and read it. We're talking the 70s. The only thing we had was German TV, and only like 2 channels. We're in the middle of nowhere. So anything related to home. So we had some guys that weren't Dragster fans wanted to borrow this. And that's it. That's how you stayed in touch back then. So we'll see. I'll think about that subscription. $90. That's a lot. I should get an issue off eBay of the current National Dragster. See if I like it. That's it. Thanks for watching. And as always, don't have too much fun.